Has it really been 2 years since the click released already? What's up everyone, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John and it's time for a review of the third studio album by the band of brothers AJR. It's titled Neotheater. The indie pop band of brothers AJR have consistently crawled under my skin since the release of their single I'm Ready, the SpongeBob sampling tune a few years back. Its relentless chirpiness was something that sure annoyed me, but I also thought of it as innocent enough at the time, just not for me, but I started to take even more issue with the release of The Click in 2017. It's an album that has a lot of fans and people who say this is extremely deep material, this is stuff that we can really connect with because this is the alternative to regular pop. They're out here making statements and they're having these quirky instrumentals that are so out of left field and unexpected. What will they do next? And I, an intellectual over here, I suppose, as many people would probably condescendingly remark towards me, am over here thinking to myself, this sounds like deep music for people that think the kiddie pool is deep. I'm waiting in these lyrics that try to take on occasional social issues or try to make some statement about anxiety, and it feels like the AJR brothers have never really experienced any of these things themselves, and they've watched movies about it and then they write based on what they've seen, because nothing on Neotheater once again feels real to me. It doesn't feel like how a real human behaves. And I know that everyone is different. Everybody perceives things differently and feels things differently. But based on everybody that I've ever met in my life, this doesn't feel genuine. I managed to avoid hearing the majority of the singles from Neotheater for the longest time until their team actually reached out to me, the person who gave such a warm, glowing, positive review to The Click in hopes of me covering 100 Bad Days, the single on my channel. Well, I obliged and I gave it what it exactly deserved, and that was a crucifixion. I nailed it to the ground because that song is intolerable. It's AJR at their utmost worst, and I genuinely did not know and could not fathom how they could get more irritating after the abomination that was The Click. But here we are. Neotheater, the masquerading experience. Prepare for the annoying production glitches that will randomly come out of nowhere. Prepare yourself and feast your ears upon the yup vocals that who the hell told you was a good idea and would ever sound good? It doesn't sound fresh, it doesn't make you unique, it doesn't make you fucking quirky. It sounds like an annoying piece of shit and I want to put my ears in a wood chipper. Piercing stigmatas do not fade out there though, because this album doesn't fare well in any department. The lyrics are woeful, so god awful and painful to actually suffer through. I'm not exaggerating for the entertainment of this review because you can see from the photo that I took of myself on my first listening session, I just couldn't stop making this face. It's not an exaggerated face, it's one of agony, one of what the fuck have I gotten myself into? I can't believe I'm actually sitting here right now. We might as well call this the negatives on negatives section because I don't really see positives popping up in the discussion. This is something that is so agonizing to sit through, not only because of the production, because of the way that the songs are styled. Occasionally, there could be a melody that floats up that's okay, and annoyingly enough, as much as I don't like him most of the time, I don't feel that Jack Met is entirely an incompetent vocalist. If he's actually trying, say on a song like Turning Out Part 2, then it can be okay. But the problem is that every time they start something that's not god awful, they manage to work something into the mix that makes me want to die. I also cannot fucking stand the running theme of this album that is attempting to talk about growing up and being a person and an individual in this 21st century. How do I navigate myself going into the 2020s decade? What am I gonna do out here? Because the issues that are represented might be real, but they're presented in an almost off-kilter way that make them sound either not serious or like a non-issue, or more often than not, like they've never actually experienced them themselves. We've got this kooky guy in his fluffy hat telling me about how I should handle my social anxiety. I don't think so. With an album like Neotheater being this detestable, downright awful, and agonizing, we have to go through and crucify all 12 tracks individually, so set the timer to 5 minutes, let's tear through this shit and burn the whole house down! Next up forever is the whiny opener to this album that does feature the cinematic strings and the orchestra. It's going in the background. I just want to be next up forever. I wonder what sex would be like again for the first time. Wish I could get my virginity back. Well, that's just fucking awkward. The way that everything comes across in this track is awkward as hell. It feels like I'm listening to my cousin that I know has probably never actually done these things, talking about these things that he says he's done and he wishes he could do again. Yeah, I don't know about that one. So the album was off to a rough start, and within a minute, I was already dying to turn off the album. Speaking of next up, look at you over here, Birthday Party, a single choice that features some god-awful vocal manipulations. What in the mother of fuck were they thinking? But also, what the hell were they thinking with the ripping off, the blatant copying of Stressed Out by 21 Pilots? I saw someone say to me, genuinely being 100% serious, that Neotheater by AJR was comparable to Blurry Face by 21 Pilots in terms of quality and depth. Needless to say, I wanted to use the force to choke them the hell out, lift them off the ground, and say, how in the world could you possibly think this? This is an album that, again, wades in the shallow tides and thinks that it's out there swimming with the sharks in the middle of nowhere because it gets lost in itself. It trips itself up on the fact that it thinks it's deep. Don't throw out my Legos. Oh, I want to smash my face through a brick wall on that one. My goodness. The way that they kind of crush together these ideas of flamboyant strings and peppy instrumentation, it's just insane. And they think that they're actually executing, and it's got the bum bum wow 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 opening it up, and then they go into the song. And like I said, it feels like Call My Dad Part 2, except even more off lyrically, because this one just gets so goddamn annoying in the sense that it feels like it's actually trying to put itself out there as something serious and somber. Please, Dad, don't throw out my Legos. I might come back for those someday. I hope the dad just called him back and said, dude, you're like 27. Get the hell out of my house. I gave your Legos to fucking Goodwill 10 years ago. Break My Face pops up next in the track list, and I have to say, I think I'd rather get clocked by Ronnie Radke than listen to this one again. It's a song that's so agonizing in the sense that the horns on this one and everything, even if they're not fake, they process it so much to make it sound like these faux horns that are in the mix. And the way that it clunkily stumbles drunkenly into the hook. So if I break my face, it's so offbeat. It doesn't make any sense to me. It just feels like it's in a drunken haze as it stumbles through this one. And as many people comment on, I feel like they think that they sound good together as brothers coming together for these sing-alongs and these group outings. Well, Met Brothers, it's not working out. It never has, and it's getting worse and worse and more agonizing with time. Potentially the saving grace of this album, the one moment that I do not entirely hate, is Turning Out Part 2, which is interesting because I didn't really care for Turning Out Part 1 that was on the click. It wasn't an awful song, but things get a little bit more serious here. They finally do some reflecting that doesn't feel so over the top, trying so hard to be relatable, kind of forced. And it eventually gives way to something bad, but I will say that at first, it's okay, it's not bad, it's a decent enough piano moment that sees them stripping away all of these crazy antics before adding in that voice. It's like they love self-sabotaging and get off on that because the song is doing just fine, and then they just slowly creep into the mix with these pitch-shifted and manipulated vocals that they just cannot stop doing. Do we need to put you on My Strange Addiction for pitch shifting? Show of hands in the audience, who here watches the popular internet personality Casey Neistat? I know I've seen enough of his vlogs to recognize instrumental royalty-free sounding music when I hear it, and The Entertainment's here, a song that seems to parade around like it's actually got something cool to say, is actually sounding straight up like one of the soundtracks to his vlogs. They come through with more shouted gang vocals for The Entertainment's here at the end of the song with their faux jazz swing, make me wanna die type entertainment, and if that wasn't enough, we get the rage-inducing yup to cap it all off. Karma is the anthem for people who do good deeds in the hopes that they will score karma points because they want good stuff to happen to them, and Jack Met laments on this one saying, oh, I really wish that something good would happen. What's going wrong? I've been doing all of these good things. That's not how it works, Jack. I'm sorry, buddy. It has music that on one hand kind of sounds like the soundtrack to a Disney film, at least one that went straight to VHS back in the day. And then on the other hand, you've got them adding in these programming glitches that make them sound like they're about to attempt to go into a Skrillex-style dubstep breakdown from something like Bangarang. It's all juxtaposed so jarringly in the mix that I never know what to expect, and it never works out well. Again, it plagues the AJR brothers because they continue to try so many things and to never focus on doing one thing entirely right. So, Karma Police,
please arrest these men.
And then came Beats, a song that I knew would be either one of two things. I figured it would, one, be them trying to do an instrumental track where they flexed their crazy insane beat skills on us, or two, it would be a product placement for Beats by Dre. And what do you know, it's the latter of those, except it's not even paid. And I kid you not when I say this, this is one of the most agonizing and awful choruses of the entire 21st century. Would Beats by Dre pay $20K? This is a song that gets off on the fact that it thinks it's cutesy and it thinks it's putting itself out there as being so relatable in some sense. Like, oh guys, we don't have the production costs for this shit. Maybe somebody will sponsor us and maybe they'll pick us up. While I'm Not Crazy opens up with one of the most romantic and zinger and perfect lines that I've ever heard. Frankly, I'm scared of clowns. Get-togethers get me down. But when I talk to you or when you talk to me, it's like I'm not crazy. Old Jackie Boy sings on this one, don't kill me, I'm just the messenger. But in fact, I kinda do want to inflict something on you. Words as weapons here, of course, not anything more than that. But my words need to direct at you that yep does not sound fucking good. Stop putting it in your. We really need to talk about Dear Winter though, because this one is being looked at and examined by fans as being so cute, relatable AF. It's something that's so adorable. Oh my god, he's written a song for his potential future offspring. And the fact is that he's saying in this song, despite all of these things that he wants to do for his future child, I guess that's a sweet enough sentiment, but he hasn't even met the mom yet, and he continuously admits the fact that he doesn't even have a potential partner to bear this child, to bring it into the world. It's like How I Met Your Mother without the closure of us knowing that at the end he actually does meet the mother, because my guy Jack is really out here mapping out and techniquing his future text conversations with his child Winter, saying, I can't wait until your 21st birthday so we can take a shot together, but we'll have to ring up old mom and get her approval first. One, how do you know that you're even gonna meet someone that wants kids? That's a bold assumption. And two, how do you know that you're gonna agree on the name Winter? And three, how do you know that this relationship is actually going to last to the point where you'll actually still be speaking 25 years down the road? And something that's borderline fucking creepy in my opinion and kind of weird, where he says, I can't wait to teach you how to curse. Out of all things that you could put into a song, apparently teaching your future child to curse is among the most important things to you. Get the fuck out of here. Thank the good heavens above that we finally made it to the last song finale. Can't wait to see what you do next, in parentheses. This is again sticking to the circle jerk theme of masquerading around as a theater like it has something new and interesting but also serious to discuss. And everything has failed up to this point. Their social commentary, their lyrical woes about their future, and moving out and growing older. But on this track, we finally get to something that I can appreciate. Jack sings on this one, they wanted heaven from me, I gave them hell. Finally, some self-awareness on the record. I gave them hell. It's the entire record. It's the experience. You saw the thumbnails. I'm in flames. Alexa, this is so sad. Play Harvey Danger. Flagpole setup, please. Yeah, I don't have an Alexa. Neotheater is an album to avoid like the plague because it is musical cancer that spreads and gets worse and worse as it goes along. This is a record that is certainly going to be among the worst of 2019 for me. It's one of the worst records that I've heard in the past 5 years, and somehow they got even more egregiously awful than The Click. I did not think that they could top it, but they certainly outdid themselves there in that aspect. This record is scraping by at the bottom of the fucking barrel with a half star Out of 5, I'm laying a 0.5 on them, that's right, and keep in mind that everything said here, believe it or not, is just my own personal opinion, so if you enjoyed the record, or if you got something else different out of it, then be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Please drop a like on this review today and subscribe for the love of music. My god, for the love of music, I will never be listening to that one again, but Neotheater by AJR, that one is officially in the history books. Anyways, if you want to see my review of The Click, then tap here, or tap here for a recent actual positive review for something that I loved. Socials in the description, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.